when we started organizing this competition for the first time this year, and that means that this will continue and will turn into a traditional international law moot court competition, addressing different issues of international law. But when starting this idea, we did not imagine that we would have such a quality of a competition. And congratulations to all the teams who did bench here, but also other members of the bench yesterday, starting from Professor Vic Lawson, Georgian judges, Georgian authorities from asylum services, and other judges. We all agree that this was a very, very good work done on the side of all the teams, and I think the work of everybody is to be appreciated. I also think that this is a very good opportunity for further academic and professional growth for each of you, and participation in many more moot courts worldwide, which I'm sure you have all the possibilities ahead of you. So thank you to all the teams and all the coaches, and also those people back home who supported your participation in Azerbaijan, Ukraine, Turkey, and of course in Georgia. Now, as you know, this competition is dedicated to a really great man, Professor Levan Alexidze, who you know by now established Georgian School of International Law. He, like Professor Cleveringa, the inaugural speech of this moot court competition was devoted to the two professors, Professor Levan Alexidze and Professor Cleveringa. He also worked for the purpose, and that purpose was protection of humans from the violation of their rights. And just as Professor Cleveringa did in Fortis, Professor Alexidze, still being a student in Fortis, also stood up for protecting the rights of the Jewish people not to be expelled from the academic environment, and with that he risked not only being expelled from the university, but maybe even harsher, a sentence. It just so happens that by support of other brave men around him, he escaped such a punishment. And since then, he, for over almost 70 years, worked on promoting the cause of international law in its widest possible sense, working on the issues related to sovereignty of different states, but also working on issues like non-discrimination. As you heard, he served as a member of the European Commission Against Racism and Intolerance, and along with other commitments he had made in life, including he had worked on the International Convention on the Migrant Workers' Rights in the 70s as a representative of the Secretary General of the United Nations. So all this links to the idea of this moot court competition's edition and the topic that we selected, and leads to date. Why? Because today, as you must know, the world celebrates International Migrants Day. So when selecting topic of the competition, we considered the issues of relevance in international law that were also directly linked to work of Professor Levan Alexidze, but also to the environment in which we are, and we decided that as the closing was planned for the 18th of December, then the topics selected were appropriately chosen. I hope you enjoyed the competition as much as we did. And this was a very good experience on the bench side also, to see different cultures pleading on the same issues of relevance for all the different backgrounds that you provide. And unfortunately, these days we live in the world of migration, sovereignty issues, and terrorism. So more or less these issues were covered in our case, about which we will also very briefly talk about at a later stage. But before we proceed to that part, I would like to ask the bench members to provide the feedback on your presentations altogether that I'm sure will be useful for your future performance, both in academia but also professionally.
Yes, I would like to start. I'm Judith Putzer from Austria. I'm a judge in Austria, and I have to say I have learned a lot from this Moot course in terms of substantive law, but also in terms of argumentation. I found it really interesting to follow your argumentations and the way you answered to each other's. I liked it very much. Specifically interesting, today I found a discussion on the right to asylum. I'm dealing with asylum issues I've been dealing for several years with asylum issues, and there is also the question, is there right to asylum? And I think you put it correctly. The right to seek international protection poses an obligation on states to give adequate procedures to verify that a person who is in need of international protection, and I don't talk only about the refugee definition, but also the right to non-refoulement, to subsidiary protection, as we call it in the EU context. To give an adequate procedure, and that leads me to the next point. We talked a lot of Article 6 of the European Convention. What I was a little bit missing was Article 13, rights to an effective remedy. For me as a judge, it's my daily work. In conjunction with Article 3, one could have, as an applicant, derived a little bit more from Article 13, because the question was very open, fair trial, and this includes also the remedy procedure. Are we obliged to grant a right to an oral hearing? Do all arguments the judge uses have to be shared with the applicant? And yes, we have as judges. This, of course, also based on the European Charter of Fundamental Rights, which, as I'm well aware, do not apply in countries outside the EU. But, as you showed when quoting the Inter-American Declaration or Convention on Human Rights, could be a reference to be made also by countries who not are directly obliged by the Fundamental Rights Charter. So yes, there is a right to a hearing and that arguments be shared. And what else? I found it very good that all of you quoted case law and derived what is important of the quoted case and what is correlating to your case that you have to defend. And I think that worked very well out today. Procedure-wise, I would like also to mention that in the European context there is something like a right to a good administration, which means fair proceeding, Article 41 of the Fundamental Rights Charter, which also applies to the authorities. Article 47 applies to judges. So, summing up, it has been a great experience for me to have been here today, last day, and thank you so much to have me to stay here. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is I work for the migration service in Georgia. I have been dealing with asylum issues for several years. It's been. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for today's very impressive presentations and their limitations. I think that both of the teams and generally all the teams did great job in this Moot court competition. And just focusing on today's presentations, I think that you have demonstrated an extensive legal research in terms of referring to the legal sources and the case law and so on. And it was really very impressive. So I know how much work you have done for presenting in front of this bench. So it's a very big success in these terms. And I'd like to congratulate you once again for this. As regards to the legal skills, I should also admit that I was very much impressed on the legal skills that I witnessed today, because all the speakers were very calm. You were presenting yourself as professionals in front of the European Court of Human Rights. It was not, in some terms, I had a feeling that it was not a moot court competition, but I was attending some real hearing. And it only refers to the quality of the preparation in sophisticating and improving and advancing the skills that you have in terms of pleading skills. And I would also would like to extend these thanks to your coaches as well and to the people who supported you in these terms. In this regard, I would particularly mention very calm demeanor that all you had during your presentations, even when you were answering to quite harsh questions from the judges. And judges also, you know, that they point out to the issues that might not be very strong for your counsel. For your party that you are representing, but you stayed calm and you made very extensive eye contact to all of the judges, and your tone and the skills and the overall demeanor was really very impressive for me to witness from the perspective of the bench. And the last but not the least that you should be really very proud of is a great teamwork that was seen from here, because you were supporting each other in any terms, and it's the most important. I think that having a little experience in moot court competitions, I think that one of the most important things that moot court competitions teaches you is to count on each other, count on your colleagues, and count on the teamwork. Because you are going through a very extensive struggle while researching and writing memorials and preparing for the pleadings. And I think that you did a great job to study and to demonstrate a very high level of teamwork. So congratulate you and congratulate each other for such a big success. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just very brief remarks from me as well. Briefly introduce myself. My name is Levan Alexidze. I am a graduate of international law postgraduate course from Tbilisi State University, as well as I have experience of participating in several international moot court competitions and work at the Ministry of Justice in the Department of State Representation to International Courts. So it was very nice experience for me to get this hands-on experience with the format of the European Court of Human Rights, and I would like to commend all of you. I was very impressed by the quality of your arguments and all the extensive research that you have done, and I don't think I have to argumentate too much on how much experience moot court competitions can provide, and I think you are living proof of that, and I'm sure, and I hope that this was a valuable experience for you, and during this research, as I can see very well, that you have learned and grown very much. Just several suggestions that I would have to maybe also work more on topics that are maybe not directly outlined in the case, but could be somewhat peripherally related. because sometimes judges can throw you off or ask some types of questions that are not directly in a case study, and they just want to also check the general knowledge, and that's how moot court competitions are very difficult. Because besides those very difficult questions that you already have, that you have to work on and present on, you may also get questions from general international law, state responsibility, international criminal law, international human rights, refugee law, of course. So yes, but I was very much impressed once again with all your knowledge and skills. And just what Kanta has also mentioned, it is very important to address also your weak points. So of course you can present very well on what your strongest points are, but to think of the creative legal arguments that would somehow justify your, just to help you to rebut other parties' arguments, that really shows how your support and your extensive research and all of that. And just one very brief, call it announcement, maybe even, with the blessing of Professor Alexidze and Professor Khultsishvili in Tbilisi State University, we established Tbilisi State University Moot Court Society, of which I'm also a founding member. And I suppose that if you would be interested, we would be very much willing to exchange contact details and like maybe even have some future cooperation in these terms. Yes, I would like to wish you success to all of you in the upcoming competitions if you're participating, and I hope you are. And I hope your universities will be involved in next year's our Levan Alexidze International Law Network competition. Thank you.
Thank you. I will not take our time, or I will not add anything, because I think it was all covered in a very nice manner from my bench colleagues. However, I still would require your attention for one thing, which I'm sure is of interest for you. You've been working and thinking about a problem for quite a number of months. You had to come to Tbilisi and argue about the positions that were allocated to you. But that problem came from somewhere, right? All the problems always come. All the problems have authors. Oftentimes, these authors are a group of people. In this case, we didn't have a group of people, even though we had some fine-tuning from a group of people. But the entire idea, the story that you studied so well and you remember for years, I believe, all the legal complexities that were brought to you as a trouble or something that led you to win are due to only one person who dedicated her time and after working hours was drafting the case for the competition to be a success. So with that, I would not deprive you of the opportunity to know who the person is, and also maybe give you a chance to ask the questions that you haven't couldn't be answered during your research. So those who have attended my courses, they know that my courses are usually very detailed, even with maybe sometimes at the end, but still. So with that, there is no only right and only obligation, I always feel, and there is no only right to question you. So there is also question time or possibility on your side. So without any further ado, let me announce the name of the person who is behind your issues, and that is Kanta, next to me, who was the again, troublemaker for me. But I will ask her to, in a very brief manner, maybe say a couple of words about the case.
Thank you. First of all, I should mention by all means that it was a great honor and responsibility for me to author the case for the Levan Alexidze International Law Moot Court competition. And secondly, I am really very happy and grateful that this case has been brought to your attention and you have been pleading on this case, on writing memorials. I had the chance to go through your memorials as well, and I'm really very impressed and really very grateful for all your work that you did on this case. What I can say, due to the sake of the time, I can say very briefly that all the questions that were put in the case and all the issues that might have been concern of the teams have been very correctly and exhaustively reviewed by the teams. But what was very surprising and further encouraging for me as well is that how from team to team there was made interpretation of the legal arguments. I don't mean, of course, speculation, but in good terms, interpretation in good terms, in terms of structuring legal arguments and analyzing the factual circumstances. So I think that you really did a great job, and I wanted to personally thank you for thinking about the case, for writing the legal analysis on the case, and for bringing verbally the thoughts that you have gathered during the several months regarding the case. So if you would have any question, of course, we can talk later during the lunch, or you can also write me and further discuss the legal aspects of the case. Thank you very much.
Okay, let's start with the first team, Sarah Gultus. Sumeya Murat. Seri Hasanov. Irak Sultan. And Mohammed Hayat. Next team, Tofika Jamalzadeh, Sona Abdullayev, Inshi Mirakaeva, Kana Gaibo, Nino Alexidze, Hamad Irina Tuska, Diana
As you see now, and as you will know, our finalist teams come from the same country, that is Ukraine. Which, of course, when summing up this course, it was already visible and evident the teams were coming from the same country. We even discussed, is it a problem? So of course, it is not a problem because this is an academic competition, and whoever is the best, that's the best. So the rules did not prohibit having the two teams from the same country. So we were very lucky with the quality of all participants, as I mentioned already. But then we had the best of the best, as identified by numerous judges that you saw yesterday, who are not here today. So we took the result as it was. Now, as you know, we have, according to rules, the winning team and also the prize for or nomination of a best speaker. The bench deliberated and we had arguments back and forth. The agreement was reached that the best speaker that we saw is Zoriana Matias. When we were deliberating on the best speaker, and we have only one place for best speaker, we could not have more. We also have one certificate, so even formally, outside the rules, we cannot do anything with that. And of course, Saba, our supervisor for observing the regulations that we have to follow, would not allow us to go outside the scope, so no possibility for 2 best winners. But with the entire competition, we saw one person in this competition competing and promoting really the moot court spirit with the demeanor, with the way how the arguments were delivered. And we thought that it would be still fair if I would, as the individual, go outside the rules of the moot court competition and not touching the rules of the moot court competition, also on my personal behalf, nominate the spirit of the moot court. And that spirit of the moot court is Dmitro Deineko. And I have absolute pleasure to announce now the team that has won the competition. So, the winner of the Levan Alexidze International Moot Court Competition, first edition, dedicated to refugee law and migration law, is Kyiv Mohyla Academy. Of course, we have a runner-up team, and guess who the runner-up team is? That's Shevchenko National University. This Levan Alexidze International Moot Court Competition final round is adjourned.